I'm out of breath.
We're back.
Hi, welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to your Monday morning or afternoon or Tuesday.
Or whenever
whatever.
you're listening to it.
I
yeah.
hope it's a great day, whatever day you're listening
I hope
this
it is.
to. Today we're talking about fossils.
Fossils.
And how they form.
If you couldn't tell by the lovely music at the
I think that's when we talk about dinosaurs.
well, yeah, not all fossils are
Not all
just
fossils are
dinosaurs.
dinos.
But when you mention fossils, you can't not hum or sing the Jurassic Park theme song.
The whole day, that is going to be all I do.
100%. When I just ran up to get the coffee, I was singing it upstairs.
I think my family was out hiking in Utah, and that just looks like Jurassic Park.
Sure.
My sister was so frustrated the whole hike. She was like, "Will you shut up? Like, I can't not do with this anymore."
Oh, that's funny.
Because I think I literally sang it the whole hike, and she was like, "You've got to stop. I'm gonna lose my mind." We were in Zion. That's where we were, and that looks like Jurassic Park.
There's a lot of fossils found in that area.
There are. It's like the number one spot is actually here in Utah.
Yeah.
We do have rating and reviews to get to,
We
but
do,
we
yeah.
will get to those in a second.
Yeah.
I have actually seen dinosaur footprints. I stopped
Really?
off at a random pull-off in Utah somewhere overlooking something,
Yeah.
and my friend Alex Harris and I got out of the car, and we were just like chilling, taking a break because it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And there was this dinosaur trail, and you literally could
Whoa.
walk this trail that had footprints of the dinosaurs.
Was it like a man, like somebody set it up? Not the footprints, but like, was it, like they knew it was there, or did you just stumble upon?
No. They knew it was there.
Oh, okay.
They put out a little thing at the pullout, when you got there.
Yeah. Okay.
It said there are dinosaur tracks down here. See if you can find them.
Oh, cool.
Type of thing. And we literally walked, put our feet where dinosaur footprints
that's
were.
really cool.
It was so cool.
Before we get too far deep into fossils,
I
here,
love fossils.
big fossil gal over here. Let's jump into some Apple Podcast rating and reviews.
Yeehaw, baby.
We're pulling these off Apple Podcasts. If you want to get your review read, jump over there, drop a review, drop a joke. We got a lot of good jokes.
So many good jokes.
Drop a podcast idea.
Yes, please drop a podcast idea. I'm trying to get a large number so we can just do a whole podcast or a couple podcasts on what you guys want to learn about.
Yeah, like a rapid fire compilation.
Yeah.
User submitted ideas.
Which I would think would be super awesome.
I think it'd be good. Yeah.
Also, we saw on YouTube that a couple of you guys are a little upset that we haven't read your rating and review yet.
Yeah.
Don't get upset with us. We love you, and we know we really appreciate that you dropped your rating and review over on Apple Podcasts. You went from YouTube and dropped it on Apple Podcasts. We promise we're getting to them. We read 2 every podcast.
Yeah.
And we've done.
I think this is episode 24.
And we started doing this at episode 10
Maybe.
or something.
Yeah.
So we've only read about 20 of them.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
We're getting there.
If you dropped it, it will be read eventually.
We promise
it will be read.
We're literally going from the bottom up.
Yeah.
We're making our way through the list. We promise.
Yeah. But I will say, all you people commenting and discussing on YouTube is so cool. I was just telling Grace about this morning. There's some real discussion going on there.
Yeah, legit.
And I really appreciate it.
I love it. You guys were sharing all your ghost stories.
Yeah, there were a lot of good ghost stories after that episode.
And the jokes.
And the jokes. A lot of good jokes. All right, so we got our reviews.
Yeehaw.
You go first.
Okay.
What do you got?
This one is titled Podcast I've Been Waiting For, and it's by Robert_83. They said, I've been watching TKOR for years and dreamed of them getting a podcast. The hosts are entertaining and very knowledgeable. Every episode has been extremely fascinating. Love the TKOR team. And then they also included a knock-knock joke.
Whoa.
Double whammy over here.
Yeah.
Knock, knock. Who's there? TKOR Podcast. TKOR Podcast Who? The best podcast ever.
Oh,
Heart.
nice.
Aw, thanks, Robert. We love you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robert.
That was so sweet.
Thanks for tacking on a joke at the end there.
Yeah, right? They really came through.
It wasn't an actual joke.
Yeah, it was more of a...
But it was a compliment towards us, so I'll accept it.
Yeah, I'm glad you find it extremely fascinating.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
I love that.
They did say the hosts are extremely very knowledgeable. I mean,
2 monkeys in a trench coat over here fooling the world.
Thank you. I've got one too, similar to the one you just read. They got
cool.
it's like a review and then a joke on the end.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
They titled it "The Joke."
Duh joke?
Duh joke.
Duh.
DA joke. Yeah. And this is from Cartac is the best.
Yeah, you are, Cartac.
Yeah, you are Cartac. They said, awesome podcast. Love it. It is really interesting and has great hosts. Funny fact, I farted while you're explaining how you fart in the Did Dinosaurs Fart episode. Thanks, Cartac. Thanks for letting us know.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely
It's pretty good,
speechless.
right?
That is so good. Oh, if you haven't listened to that podcast, go listen. I don't think we got through that podcast. We literally sat in here and recorded for like an hour and a half, I think,
At
on
least.
that one.
And the episode's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, because we could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
Like fart jokes are funny.
Yeah,
Let's just
it's
be
good
very
stuff.
clear. Farts are funny.
Farts are funny. Okay, and then also, in addition to that, just gold tidbit of information.
There's more?
There's a knock-knock joke. Yeah. Except they said mock mock.
Mock mock.
Mock mock.
Mock mock.
Mock mock. Who's there? Yeah. Yahoo. Wow, you must be excited.
This is the best one
It's
yet.
a good one, right? That was a really good. Cartac, you are the best.
Cartac, you came in here swinging today with the info and the joke.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was really good. I
Nice.
enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was an enjoyable time.
Thank you guys for leaving your rating and reviews. Those meant the world to us.
Yes,
They were good.
definitely. Yeah.
Good day today.
All right, back into fossils.
Okay, so have you ever collected a fossil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
What do
sure.
you have?
Because I grew up in southern Utah,
Right.
so I'd got like fossilized trilobites, the usual little guys, because everywhere around where I lived,
Mm-hmm.
the entire country there was made of shale.
Sure.
So you would go out.
Shale.
Shale. Blue shale,
Ooh.
to be specific. Yeah. So you go out with the hammer, bust it open,
Sure.
and you could find a trilobite fossil in there.
Whoa.
Or I've also found, and I just looked this up to verify, I've also found shark's teeth.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those, actually.
Really?
Like right outside my hometown. You can hike up. There's mountains around it.
Uh-huh.
Hike up on the top of them, and they'll have like really sandy tops. you know?
Sure.
And yeah, you can find shark's teeth all over them.
That is wild to me because I've collected them in North Carolina,
Yeah.
obviously.
Sure.
But the fact that you can collect them, because I mean, Utah was like the ocean at one point.
Back in the day.
Way back in
Way
the
back
day.
a couple years ago.
Which is like what makes Utah so cool, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But that is crazy. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Southern Utah. Shark's teeth all over.
Well, my fossils aren't as cool as yours.
Oh, well, you didn't grow up in Utah.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
fossil capital of the world here,
Literally.
apparently.
Yeah, so I on top of that conversation of
Yeah.
where you can find fossils, I actually found this website that you can go and like basically plug in where you live, like if you live in New Hampshire, North Carolina, Utah, and it'll tell you where you can go find fossils.
really?
Yeah, and where like most typical fossil for you to find. I felt so bad for some of the states
Really?
because we have sandstone here, so it's
Yeah.
perfect for preserving
got it all.
fossils. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some states that's like there's only granite here. You will never find
You'll
a
never
fossil.
find a fossil in this. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. That's like my life is because I grew up in southern Utah
Yeah.
and I lived very close to a national park.
Yeah.
Like very close to like 3 national parks.
Yeah, they're all literally
They're all right there. And like various state parks are there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I totally took it for granted and I still do when people are like, oh my gosh, is it just beautiful down there? It's just, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right, I guess.
Sandy.
It's like, yeah, it's a little, I don't know. It's like red
Yeah.
rocks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then this too, add this on top of it where it's like, you can find all the fossils.
Literally.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I guess. I found some
Cool.
shark teeth when I was like 10, whatever. Like, I don't know.
and I'm like over here, like, you found a shark's tooth
Yeah.
in Utah?
Yeah.
Like, there's no water around here.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from Josh's experience of finding fossils everywhere he went when he was younger.
Yeah, I was just stumbling upon them.
Yeah, and I did not have that experience in North Carolina. I mean, we were more of a mining state, so like we
Yeah.
would go gem mining a lot. Like
Oh,
that was like
interesting.
the big
Okay.
thing out there because of the minerals and whatnot. But
Okay.
the biggest fossil ever found
Oh.
was discovered in the UK.
Okay.
So not in the United States, not in Utah.
Shout out to the UK.
Go UK!
Yeah.
The remains of a monstrous 33-foot
Whoa.
long, which is 10 meters.
10
Sea
meters.
dragon.
Sea dragon.
Sea dragon. That swam in the seas when dinosaurs were alive some 180 million years ago.
Oh my.
Yeah. So it was unearthed in a nature reserve in England.
A 33-foot sea dragon.
Sea dragon.
10 meters.
10 meters long. Get this. Its 6-foot skull weighed 1 ton.
Holy crap.
1 ton.
It's a
That's
big-
just the bones.
Just the skull.
Yeah. Could you imagine like you had some meat onto that guy?
Yeah,
Like
that's a big guy.
he's huge.
Yeah.
So the behemoth is the biggest and most complete fossil of its kind ever discovered in the UK.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. I
That's
think that was
huge.
Nessie.
This is Nessie.
This is Nessie.
It died a long time ago.
Yeah,
People are
they-
still looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we actually
we
found
solved
it.
the case. We got it, guys. Don't worry.
We're a mystery channel now.
Case closed.
So what is fossilization? How did this behemoth become?
How did Nessie become a fossil?
Yeah. So basically a fossil is the preserved remains or trace of a dead organism, and the process by which this happens is called fossilization. It is very rare for living things to become fossilized.
What?
Yes.
Really?
To go through this process, it is very, very rare.
You know, I didn't know that, but it makes sense because
Yeah.
of how many organisms there were. Like,
Mhm.
if every single one became a fossil, you couldn't like walk outside
No, you would.
without seeing a fossil, especially in Utah.
Yeah, seriously though.
That makes sense.
But it's a very rare process. Like think about it. We would know exactly if we had access to more fossils, we would know exactly what the dinosaurs looked like. We probably
Sure.
have more complete. We would actually have a complete T-Rex. We would have
Yeah.
all these different things instead of trying to be like, wait, does this go here? Does it go there?
That's true.
So yeah, when I read that as well, I was like, really? It's a rare
Yeah.
thing. But then I had the same realization. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it kind of makes sense.
Makes sense.
Usually after most animals die, their bodies just rot away and there's nothing left behind. However, under certain special conditions, a fossil can form. After the animal or dinosaur dies, the soft parts of the body decompose.
They explode. Anyway.
So the body decomposes,
Yes.
leaving just the hard parts like the skeleton behind.
Right.
And this is buried in some particles of the rock called sediment.
Yeah.
As more layers of sediment build up on top, the sediment around the skeleton begin to compact and turn to rock. Then the bone starts to be dissolved by water seeping through the rock, and the minerals in the water replace the bone, which leaves a rock replica of the original bone, which is called a fossil. So it's not bone that we're finding, it's
rock.
rock.
Shaped like bone.
Yes.
Yeah. I learned all about this
Probably did.
in elementary and high school science.
I'm sure you got to go on a whole field trip.
Dude, are you kidding me? Like the layers of sediment, like that was prime.
You guys walked at the front school of your elementary and were
Yeah,
like,
they're
look
like,
at the layers.
Do you see this mountain right here? You see the layers? Yep. Cool. All right, we're good. Let's go.
That's so crazy
Yeah.
that you
dude.
got to do this. Because, I mean, when we find fossils, we don't find them
Yeah.
really in North Carolina. We just find like bones of deer and stuff.
Sure.
That's all we got out
That's
there.
all you got out there.
Some dead raccoons.
Sure. Hey, maybe someday there'll be a raccoon fossil.
Right? I'll be able to tell my kids, back in my day, they
Back in
roamed
my
the
day,
earth.
those trash pandas were roaming the earth.
We are out of pocket today.
Yeah, this one's really just spitting off.
Woo. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I mean, I think maybe I learned about this, but we learned about it very quickly because it wasn't really applicable
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ever really sat into my brain that what we're finding is not a bone, it is a rock.
It's rock, yeah. Yeah, I think that is a really cool fact if you like didn't know. Like I said, like that was
Mhm.
core curriculum for me. But yeah, like I feel like people might think that
I
fossils
didn't.
are just bones.
Yeah, I
They're
thought they were just
preserved.
bones.
But yeah, it's just rock replacement.
Yeah, the water seeps into the bone and then it just hardens the sedimentary rock right there. And
Yeah.
then
Replaces the bone with rock.
so there's different types of fossilization, which is really important to know because the same fossilization process that happens here on land doesn't happen the same way in the ocean or in
Sure.
bodies of water. So the most common method of fossilization is
Permineralization.
or petrification. Those are the two common types.
Yeah. Permineralization and petrification.
Permineralization and petrification.
Yeah. I've seen, when you were talking about, I totally forgot about this. I've seen petrified trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of those down
So many.
in my neck of the woods as
yeah,
well.
in the petrified sand dunes.
Sure.
Yeah, down in Arches National Park
Yeah.
they have to drive through. They're
Yeah.
cool. After an organism's soft tissue decays in sediment, the hard parts, particularly the bone, are left behind. So, like we talked about before, the water seeps in,
Yeah.
the minerals dissolve into the water seeps into the space within the remains, and they form crystals. These crystallization minerals cause the remains to harden, along with the encasing sedimentary rock.
So these two are like these are like your basic.
This is like, I found a fossil that looks like a bone.
It's probably this.
Yes. Next, we have carbonization or distillation. This yields a detailed carbon impression of the dead organism in sedimentary rock. The heat and pressure from being buried in sediments can sometimes cause the tissue of organisms, including plants and leaves, in the soft body parts of fish, reptiles, and marine invertebrates, to release hydrogen and oxygen, leaving behind a residue of carbon.
Okay.
So that's like what you would find. Your
I'm
little
sure.
worms and stuff.
I'm sure, yeah. Would be carbonization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more common to find carbonization or distillation than anything else,
Really?
actually. I feel like it's more common for that to happen than
Outside
to
of
find
Utah.
find like a bone.
Yeah, because if you don't have a large percentage of sandstone,
Yeah.
you're not going to have the sediment filling in for the bones.
I don't know. I just feel like that feels more common to me than anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure like fossils in North Carolina are probably those.
I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
We're not experts here. We're just chatting
We're just two dinosaurs in some trench coats
today.
Yeah. We'll go back to monkeys later.
Another type of fossilization is replacement, and that's when the minerals in groundwater replace the minerals that make up bodily remains after the water completely dissolves the original hard parts of the organism.
So, sounds kind of similar to the first one, but this is saying it's doing it in water.
Yes.
Instead of like encased in
because
sandstone.
the water completely dissolves the original hard parts.
That's cool.
Instead of bringing in the minerals.
Yeah.
And then there's your molds and casts, and that's if an organism completely dissolves in sedimentary rock and it can leave an impression of its exterior in the rock. This is called an external mold. If the mold gets filled with other minerals, it becomes a cast. An internal mold forms when sedimentary rock or mineral fill in the internal cavity, such as a shell or skull of an organism, and the remains dissolve.
Okay. So this is like your dinosaur tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I saw that I could like walk
that
on.
You walked in, yeah. For sure. It was that.
Yeah. That's how I imagine the dinosaurs walked.
I think that's how they walked, yeah. No, I think it was with that sound.
Probably. Hot take here.
Oh. Okay.
I think that dinosaurs were just giant chickens.
Okay.
I think they had feathers.
Yeah.
I think that they are completely different than what we're taught in school.
Sure.
I am not a conspiracy person, but I just truly feel like we don't know what they sounded like.
Sure.
We don't know, like these sounds from Jurassic Park where they're like, rah.
Yeah.
We don't know that they roared.
No.
We don't know what their esophagus looked like.
No.
We don't know that they had tongues.
Do we not?
I don't know.
We've
never found a tongue, I don't think.
Probably not. It's a soft tissue.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't
dissolve.
Survive, yeah.
And I think that's why I was so fascinated with dinosaurs growing up.
Yeah.
Was because I was like, we don't know.
We don't actually know what they were.
Yeah, we know that they were on this earth and in this world, but we don't actually know what they looked like.
Fully.
Yeah.
We know what their skeleton looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have no idea what their outer coat looked like. Like, yes, we have some like imprints and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it looks like chicken skin.
I think, well, that's the thing is I think new stuff is coming out every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should do a podcast on this.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't get too deep in it. But I do think they did just find another fossil.
Did they?
That showed feathers. Yeah.
I've known it
I think it might have been in Utah too.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, it was,
But like literally, I have always been fascinated with the fact that we don't know what they looked like.
Yeah.
A dinosaur could be pink or blue or green or like
That's
neon
true.
yellow. We have no idea.
The whole like color of a dinosaur being, dark green or something.
Yeah.
As far as I know, we have no way of knowing that.
No, we have no way to know what color they were.
Like that's not present in the fossilized remains.
No.
So yeah, I mean, I guess a T-Rex could have been like hot pink.
if we wanted it to
Just
be.
chilling. Yeah.
Could you imagine a
Hot pink T-Rex.
It's crazy,
Be
but
like-
I don't know. Dinosaurs are fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's just like it. Besides a microscope, dinosaurs pulled me into the world of science. I was
Yeah,
fascinated.
Totally.
Land Before Time,
Dude,
sold.
Land Before Time.
So
oh my
sold.
gosh.
Okay, back on track. What about organic remains?
What about them?
So, in recent years, researchers have discovered that some fossils aren't just made of minerals. Fossil analysis have shown, for instance, that some retain organic material dated to the Cretaceous, which is a period that lasted from 65.5 million to 145.5 million years ago, and the Jurassic period, which lasted from 145.5 million to 199.6 million years ago.
Yep.
These tests suggest that these organic materials belong to dinosaurs because they match certain proteins from birds, which evolved from dinosaurs. Ta-da!
Listen, I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
They got organic material from,
Mhm.
what was it? Sap?
Yeah.
Amber, I guess
Mhm.
was what it was, from a mosquito.
Yeah.
Then that was real. I mean, not the part, but they
yeah.
have found like DNA blood
From
samples encased in like
mosquitoes.
amber.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's unclear how this organic material is preserved, but iron might help the proteins become cross-linked and unrecognizable or unavailable to the bacteria that would otherwise consume them, which is really, really crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So formaldehyde works in this similar way, cross-linking the amino acids to make up proteins, making them more resistant to the decay.
Oh, that's interesting. I never really knew what formaldehyde did.
We just knew it preserved the thing.
They just pump it into dead bodies.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it just prevents the decay.
Huh.
That actually came from a paleontologist at North Carolina State University.
Oh, shout out.
Go Pack.
Yeah.
That's where I went to school.
There you go.
Another idea is microbial masonry. It is possible that the bacteria that initially chomped through the tissues are secreting minerals as a waste product and then hermetically, which means airtight,
Yeah.
seal a little bit of what remains behind, almost like a stonemason sealing off a structure.
Interesting.
So like the bacteria eats it,
Uh-huh.
but then like poops it out
They poop out
the DNA.
the DNA, but then that also like seals it up in the
Yes.
poop.
It's like
Interesting. That sound. Yeah,
so we have microbial masonry,
sure.
and then we also have the idea of formaldehyde,
Yeah,
kind of
amino
thing,
acid
yeah.
situation.
but it's iron that does it instead.
The iron, yeah.
Which is so crazy to think about, like little pieces of iron helping preserve.
Organic matter.
Yeah.
For hundreds of millions of years.
It's so crazy. It's like we talked about in the previous podcast.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about how science grows every single day
Yeah,
and we discover something new.
it's always changing.
It's so cool. Like something we had no access to 10 years ago, we
Yeah.
now have access to be like, oh yeah, bacteria was eating this, but then it pooped it out, but it also saved the DNA in an airtight thing.
Yeah.
So we thought this bacteria was bad, but it was actually good.
It's actually doing us a favor.
Yeah. And like, say we scrubbed it all off of these fossils and bones and everything that we found. And it's like, dang, if we had access to that 10 years ago, we wouldn't have scrubbed all the stuff off of it. We would have left it
Yeah.
to find DNA.
Oh, shoot.
Right?
Can you imagine, speaking of like science evolving our understanding, like what is the thought process going through like a prehistoric human, like a caveman?
I have no idea.
They're like out hunting and they're out hunting in like southern Utah and just stumble upon a giant preserved fossilized skeleton. And they're just like, excuse me, what is this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild to think about.
Which that begs the question. So give like 50 years, 100
Mhm.
years from now, what's it going to be with dinosaurs that were like, oh, we have all the understanding? Can you imagine
Yeah.
what they thought back then?
Yeah. No.
No.
Literally,
It's us
I
talking
can't.
about rainbow dinosaurs. like
Literally.
hot pink dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, yeah, obviously they were hot pink.
Duh, they were hot pink.
What do
and
those
then
idiots think?
Someone's gonna send this podcast to someone in the world
Yeah.
and be like, "These two monkeys in a trench coat were talking about
They
this
knew.
10 years ago."
They knew.
And then there's these other animals like that we're getting ready to talk about
Okay.
that are challenging to fossilize. That
Okay.
probably
These are the rough ones.
these are the guys that are just like
they just don't do it.
they just don't do it.
Yeah.
And imagine how many are out there that we have no idea it actually existed.
Sure. I bet there was a lot back in the day.
That we have no idea actually existed because there's no fossils, no
Yeah.
record, no preservation.
Sad,
of them.
right?
It's so sad.
Yeah.
So animals without skeletons like worms, jellyfish, and other soft-bodied critters are very, very hard to fossilize.
Makes sense.
They are very rare that we find them. So when paleontologists find a well-preserved fossil of a soft-bodied animal, it's an occasion for a celebration. Woohoo!
I'm just picturing like the scene at the beginning of Jurassic Park when they're all out like at the dig site, but then they're all just like popping bottles of champagne because they found a worm. They're like, yeah,
woohoo! We found a worm today. Could you imagine?
If you're a paleontologist and that happens, let us know.
So for soft-bodied animals to be fossilized, its body must be protected from decomposition. The body is usually exposed to air and water with a lot of oxygen, so it decomposes rapidly. The animal is likely to be fossilized only if it is buried soon after it dies, or if it's buried alive. So what makes me think when they find these soft-bodied critters and their fossils, it has to be when like the floodgates opened in Utah and like all that water rushed in and rushed through and things were just buried instantly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like that had to be.
All the worms were chilling above ground and then all of a sudden were covered in like loose sediment and water.
Even then, it is likely to decompose because water that seeps through the sediment around it is usually rich in oxygen. Sometimes, however, the body's buried rapidly by fine mud. The water seeps through the mud much more slowly than through sand, so the body does not decompose as fast. Mud often contains a lot of organic matter as well, and that uses up the oxygen faster. Go little critters.
Yeah.
Some animal bodies then escape decomposition. Under just the right conditions, a delicate impression of the animal might be preserved.
And man, you weren't kidding when you said this is rare. Like, how does this happen at all?
Right? It's literally like there can't be any oxygen. If there is, it has to be very minimal. And that's going to decompose the body very rapidly. It needs to be mud. It's crazy to think about.
The animal needs to die on a Tuesday. It needs to be overcast.
No rain for a week.
No rain for a week. The worm needed to be a good worm, not a bad worm.
Make sure that it was buried. Like someone came by and buried it after it died.
Worm. They said it some nice, like, peaceful words at their grave.
10 million years later.
10 million years later, that'll all pay off.
Oh, gosh. So then that made me beg the question, do we still have dig sites?
Like the one in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Do we still have dig sites? Do we still have records? Are there people still digging, trying to find fossils?
Right.
And we kind of do, but we also don't.
Really?
It's one of those things that it's kind of a dying out thing.
Oh, that's sad.
It is kind of sad that like there are these teams that do excavations and they dig and they find, but it's not as common as it used to be.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry in Elmo, Utah.
Elmo, Utah.
Dude,
we should go to Elmo, Utah. Can we get a field trip?
Yeah.
Plan?
Field trip.
Well,
we should go because with over 12,000 bones discovered since the early 1900s, this esteemed excavation site is home to the largest concentration of Jurassic dinosaur fossils found anywhere on Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Elmo.
Coming through, man.
Coming through, Elmo.
One of the Jurassic era's most iconic dinosaurs was once widespread across Utah. This formidable apex predator is also known today as the Allosaurus.
The Allosaurus.
He's like a mini T-Rex.
It's like a mini T-Rex with like a slightly longer head.
I don't know how to describe this dinosaur. It kind of looks like a chicken.
They all look like
long
chickens.
Arms-ish. But yeah, apparently they were a formidable apex predator and they really loved Utah.
They're all over Utah.
The only thing that people by people I mean paleontologists can't figure out is why this predator would congregate in such high numbers in this one location.
That is weird. They have like a town there.
I guess.
The Allosaurus.
They had to like travel in packs.
I would assume, right? But usually that's not the case.
I mean, they found over 12,000 bones.
That's a lot.
That was a ton.
Yeah.
Of Allosaurus dinosaurs.
Maybe that's just like that was their cemetery.
Yeah, they carried
took
them
the dead
with their
guys
little
there.
dino
Yeah, buried them.
arms.
Yeah.
they could have been way smarter than we're giving them credit for.
Dude,
know?
who knows?
We don't know. They had to have big heads, right? And they had like big heads.
Isn't that the thing though? Like they don't think they had big brains.
They had to have.
Or
big
they know
brains.
they didn't because they can like look at the brain cavity in the head.
Oh, true. We've learned a lot today.
Yeah, I think we should definitely get into that more on its own dino podcast.
Yes, we could talk for hours about dinosaurs.
I think we could, I think we're learning now that we could probably go on for like 12 days.
I love dinosaurs.
Big dinosaur fans.
End of story here.
Yeah.
The animal dies, soft part of the body decomposes, leaving some stuff behind. Then it is begin to be buried in mud, sand, or silt.
Yeah.
And then the layers build up. And then water seeps into the bones and the teeth, turning them into stone, and leave behind the mineral bones.
And that's how
you get a fossil.
That's how fossils are made, kids.
That's it.
Yeah.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That's the big wrap up right there.
Yeah, and then the giant dinosaur at the beginning that weighed had a 1-ton head.
10-meter Loch Ness monster.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how
we solved that case really fast.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot that we broke that.
Yeah.
We broke the mystery.
This was a monumental podcast.
Big one, yeah.
We learned a lot.
Definitely.
Anyway, leave us a rating and review.
Definitely.
Let us know what you learned in this podcast and what you find fascinating. And if you want a dinosaur podcast, please literally just leave a rating and review of like a dinosaur.
Do like a dinosaur emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Maybe we should do that instead of like people leaving
a
their
thing.
idea.
Yeah.
Just leave an emoji and we have to guess what the podcast is based off of the emoji.
That could be so dangerous.
It could, but it could be very like you could do like a couple if you're trying to get an idea across.
Yeah, just leave a couple emojis and then we'll try
we have to figure out what the
that
idea
would be
is.
so much fun.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Anyway, if you've ever been to Elmo, Utah, also please let us know.
Dude, if you live in Elmo,
can we come visit?
Yeah. I mean, the odds of the 400 people that live in there, like one of them listening to this podcast is pretty low. But
if they do, my life would be made.
Yeah.
If you know someone, send them this podcast and let us come hang out.
Dude, I probably know somebody that lives in Elmo, Utah. I feel like, I don't know.
Really?
I mean, I grew up in that neck of the woods. You know? So we all know each other down there.
One of the 400 people has to...
Somebody, yeah.
Someone.
One of the 400 people in my town has to know one of the 400 people in their town.
I mean, you did know the one guy. Your aunt knew the fire chief guy for the liquid oxygen.
For the liquid oxygen video. Dude, Fire Chief Dan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wow. Okay.
Blast from the past.
Yeah. Liquid oxygen video. Watch it if you haven't. It's one of the best videos we've ever made.
Honestly, truthfully.
Anyway.
Whew.
Should we go to Elmo, Utah and search for some fossils?
That, or I want to go to your hometown and find myself a shark's tooth.
There might be some, yeah. Or we just go watch Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just sit on the couch.
Yeah, like Netflix it up and go watch Jurassic Park. Yeah.
We're going to go do that.
Cool. All right.
Hope you love dinosaurs as much as us.
Yeah. Bye.